Hey, I'm Think Create, and welcome back to my series, Games I Should Have Played by Now, where I play games that, honestly, I really should have played by now. I love video games, but my knowledge of them is super limited, and especially as somebody who wants to make my own games, I really want to learn more about what's out there. What makes a game good? What makes a game popular? What do I like in a game, and what do I not like? So in this episode, we are playing Outer Worlds, right? That's Outer Worlds, not Outer Wilds. Yes, Outer Worlds. Okay, even the Wikipedia says not to be confused with Outer Wilds. But we are playing The Outer Worlds, which is a 2019 action role-playing game developed by Obsidian. It seems kind of similar to Fallout. From what I've heard, people who enjoy Fallout also enjoy this game, which transparently is why I want to play it next. I just want to play this game. Yeah, led by Tim Kaine. Oh, it's led by Tim Kaine. That's the creator of the Fallout series. That's, okay, so Firefly and Futurama? I'm gonna love this, right? I hope I'm not setting myself up for disappointment, but that seems like something I'll really, really enjoy. I pulled it up on Metacritic as well. It looks like it has pretty favorable reviews. Like it does seem that this is a well-liked game, and if it's what I'm imagining it to be, I can see why. This is gorgeous. I mean, come on, this is already gorgeous. I really like that it's giving me the option to select difficulty. I think this says it's recommended for my first play session, so we're gonna do normal, but I appreciate it a lot when a game has like a story mode or something for people who aren't as good or don't enjoy combat as much, which is usually me.
Come to Halcyon, the only colony on the edge of the frontier, owned and operated by corporations. When you go out of this world to the Halcyon
This is really
colony.
good. I love fiction about colony ships. I love thinking about colony ships. Oh. Uh-oh. Here's our inciting incident.
Hundreds of thousands of colonists left adrift out here forever, just to keep from damaging the board's bottom line. Disgraceful.
This is a wonderful character creation menu. This is very cool. I love the thought that's gone into this on a character level. I love reading these descriptions. This is wonderful. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. She's gorgeous.
Not likely, bootlickers.
Yeah, get out of here, bootlickers.
Initiate skip jump.
Did he wake us up first? Are we in charge of the whole ship? Oh, now we're waking up, right? This is us now? Hello?
Ah, there you are. Wondering what's going on, eh?
A little
Bad
bit.
news there, I'm afraid. Your colony ship was inexplicably knocked out of skip space and forced to complete its journey at sublight speeds. This means that you and every other colonist on the Hope have been in suspended animation for 70 years, give or take. Normally, reviving someone after so long leads to some quite horrifying results. It's called explosive cell death, but it's really more of a liquefaction. Something wrong?
That's horrifying.
Yes, well, not to worry. I've pumped your body full of a special concoction I devised to keep you from dying so horrifically.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
at all, but I guess we'll see, yes?
Am I going somewhere? Yep. This is so Fallout 4. This awakening in a cryopod. I wonder which came first. This is beautiful. I'm really excited to play around in here. Y'all know the drill with this series at this point. I'm going to play on my own for a bit. I'll check in periodically to kind of share my thoughts, but wow, I'm looking forward to this. Okay, so I am about 6 hours in, and it absolutely scratches the itch that I thought it would. It's extremely similar to Fallout, even down to the premise of taking actual American history, imagining one change where the timelines diverge, and then pushing that to the extreme. In Fallout, it was after World War II, imagining if nuclear power had been favored over petroleum, and in Outer Worlds, it's that the assassination of President McKinley never happened, which meant that Teddy Roosevelt, the trustbuster, was never elected, so in this dystopian future, corporations are like super huge mega corporations that control every aspect of life. The writing surprises me within that premise. Like, Parvati's mom wasn't permitted to raise her because as a high-level company exec, her time was more valuable to the company, so Parvati was raised by her father. Compared to the last game I played, which was Portal, you can watch that video here, there are a ton of mechanics. I like to say that game design is just problem solving, and one of the problems here is that there are just more options than I could possibly remember with what equipping and storing and shooting and dodging and blocking and time dilation, and the way they've solved that problem is by adding a codex. Now, I am noticing as a player some friction, and I think I might have set myself up to fail here because I've been exclusively playing Bethesda games so heavily, so I kind of expect to be able to do certain things that I can't here, like skip dialogue and navigate menu options with arrow keys. And this is my background as a web dev talking, but any tiny amount of friction like that, it builds up in the user experience. So that's my takeaway as a dev so far. Playtesting with players of different backgrounds is crucial. What do players expect to work? What's already in their muscle memory? Now, I like that certain mechanics are different. Like right now, I only have heavy ammo and light ammo, not a different type of bullet for each type of gun, which was always hard for me to follow. Also, this game feels like Firefly, like the show Firefly, which I only watched for the first time this year. If you haven't, I recommend it. It's like a space western. I think I just really like spaceships, so I'll check in with some more thoughts in a bit. We are now 13 hours in, and honestly, my thoughts have shifted a little more negative. I'm getting a little frustrated by some of the story and the gameplay, and it's adding up, so let's talk about it. So I said in my last update that there was only 2 types of ammo. I was wrong. There's a bunch, and I can't figure out which type goes with which gun and which I'm supposed to use for which enemy. I have to keep pulling up the codex to read the information about it. I'm also struggling to figure out which gun I have equipped or in my inventory and which my companions have, and if I can repair theirs. It's very overwhelming to me, but I will admit that might just be a skill issue. Now, the story in Outer Worlds, it feels much more preset and much less flexible. So for example, companions, they are optional to recruit, but I didn't realize that there's a 1-to-1 of spaces you have on your ship and companions that you can recruit. So I feel kind of compelled to fill up the empty space and do a complete set of all the companions you can get. So I recruited Ellie as my ship's doctor, but some of her dialogue, it rubs me kind of wrong, and that's not a flaw in the character. I don't really like the character. So for example, I was out with Ellie and Parvati, and Parvati said something about Ellie's gun making a weird sound and offered to fix it, and Ellie said she didn't want to be in debt to anybody, so no. And Parvati was like, well, I have a little spring or screw or whatever it was in my pocket, I can fix it right now. It's totally free. And Ellie was like, I don't accept free favors. So the way I play games, role-playing wise, my character choice when we got back on this ship was I wanted to talk to Ellie about that because it felt really rude. If I'm captain of the ship and I'm out with my companions and you're turning down a free repair from the engineer that I have, hired to travel with us, that's not watching my back. That's not keeping the crew safe. It was a role-playing moment of I want to talk to this character this way, but the only dialogue option I had was to ask her to leave the ship. So in my head, I was like, you know what? Ellie probably has a companion quest at some point that'll make her a little warmer. I'm sure there's, this character is written to be standoffish on purpose. I'm sure I could win her over eventually, but maybe I want to pause here, take this role-playing option and follow up with her later. So I said, get off the ship, not realizing that was a permanent dismissal. I can't find her again. She's gone. The dialogue was so much more aggressive than I expected it to be. It was get out of my sight. And after I clicked it, I was like, well, that was a mistake. And I can't recruit her again. I thought she would just go back to the Groundbreaker and I could find her again when I was ready, but I can't. And now her room is permanently empty. So that sucks. Similarly, the quests seem to have a really specific way that they expect you to do them. When I was traveling with Nyoka, we encountered a mega creature and she gave us the options. She said we could sneak past it peacefully, quietly, or we could go in guns blazing. And I chose to sneak past it peacefully and quietly. But as soon as we made it past the monster, another quest popped up. Apparently the monster had somebody trapped and the new quest was just, to free that guy, you have to kill the monster. So it wasn't really an option of sneaking past it peacefully because to complete the next objective, I had to kill it anyway. I felt really pressured to play the game the way the game wanted me to. Even in Nyoko's own quest, her dialogue was pretty blunt with things like, we should do this first. We should do this on the way. And honestly, that makes sense because you're not really meant to double back. Like the way that the quest objectives happen, the game clearly wants you to do them in a certain order, and it doesn't make it easy to like go back or do them out of order. In another quest, The Doom That Came to Roseway, Gladys asks us to pick up some corporate secrets. So in Roseway, I think I picked up like 2 of the 3. And then when I returned to Gladys, came back with the secret she asked me to get. And I had gotten 2 of the options. So I thought the goal of the quest was just pick one of those things. I thought I had done more than she asked by bringing back 2. But her dialogue was like, I think there's more secrets out there. And I realized the game wanted me to do all 3. It absolutely expected me to do all 3. The quest marker was going to stay there until I went and did all 3. It wasn't a choice that I got. It was a preset expectation. Another bummer, the last time I checked in, I said specifically how much I love my spaceship, and I really did. But a few hours later, and I've realized just how little there is to do on it. I can walk around while I'm docked, or I can fast travel somewhere else and then just walk around it while I'm docked somewhere else. There's a cool engine, but there's nothing to do in the engine room. And there's a really cool dining area, but there's nothing to do in the dining area. I want to talk to my companions there, but whenever I interact with them, they don't have additional dialogue. I can just dismiss them or leave them alone. I can't have dinner with my crew. I can't refuel my ship. I can't maintain my ship. I really can't do anything but use it as a fast travel box. And I've heard that critique with other games that have spaceships in them, namely Starfield, which of course I also have not played. Let me know if I should. But I think it might just be really difficult to make a game with a spaceship in it. Unless you're trying to make a game about the grind of travel, which some games do, like truck simulators. I think that genre could work for a spaceship game if you just want to do a game about the travel of being in a spaceship, traveling space. But I think that's a different game than actual space exploration with narrative on all these different locations. So I don't have the right answer for it. I was just bummed by the execution of it. One of my all-time favorite books is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. It has found family, it has space travel, it's very cozy sci-fi, and it's essentially a road trip book in space. And when I stepped onto The Unreliable, that's what I wanted to find. So it's entirely possible that my expectations were just too high because I love that genre so much already. If you have game recommendations that include a spaceship, please recommend them to me. I want a good game with a spaceship in it. Or maybe space travel is just too hard to pull off in a game like this. Even the Groundbreaker, which is one of the locations in game, it's a big colony ship that you can visit. It's turned into an independent trading hub. It should be so cool. It's right up my alley, right? It's that sci-fi dystopian story building goodness. And it is beautiful, but I don't want to spend any time on it. And I can't quite put my finger on why. Maybe it's because it's intentionally like a corporate dystopia. Like it feels bad, you know? The people are struggling. There's a bunch of postings on the terminals for people desperate for work or to get out of there. The heat is broken, so everybody's miserable. It feels miserable and it feels bad to be there instead of this like creative, cool future thing. It feels bad, and it is meant to feel bad. And you might be thinking, Reagan, you love dystopia. Like, don't you love Fallout? And the answer is yes. I have spent hundreds of hours in Fallout, and that is similarly a dystopia that feels bad. So what's the difference? I think it might be that the things I love in Fallout are the parts that feel like hopeful and interesting, like the rebuilding that the Minutemen do. That scratches my brain in the most perfect way. That is so satisfying to me, that goal of like, we can rebuild and we can work together and we can make things safe for everybody. Even the parts of Fallout that aren't like that, like the Institute is, you know, this evil dystopia, but they've got really cool science. They've got things like food synthesizers. They're trying to rebuild humanity the best way they know how. And there is still a ton of hope and sort of this eerie question of like, what is the best way for us to move forward? Whereas the Groundbreaker, it just kind of feels bad and stuck, and there's not much you can do. I mean, you can do some quests and like turn the heat off, but like there's a guy who's stuck in a mascot uniform and he's stuck like that. You can try and get him to talk to you as a person and like break him, but it's just kind of depressing. Which isn't to say it's bad writing. It's very, very good writing. They accomplished the dystopia thing very well. I just don't need to spend more time in it. It could also be because there's just less world building to stumble on in this game than there are in the Bethesda games that I've enjoyed so much. Like I said, the game really guides you on the path that it wants you to take. Whereas in Fallout or Skyrim, you can just kind of walk in any direction and you'll stumble on a quest or world building or a story. All the interactable elements in Outer Worlds are highlighted. So I learned very quickly just to ignore anything that wasn't highlighted, which is unfortunate because it means that every house, every cell, it's a copy paste thing. And if I see something highlighted, I can grab it. It's junk. But beyond that, it's basic. It's kind of empty. I went to a game meetup recently and we were talking about Outer Worlds and somebody said, it could have been a great game if they had just spent a little more time on it and had a little more budget with it. So I don't know if it's a game where they rushed development time or they were short on resources. Maybe it could have been really great if there was just a little more polish on it. And maybe I'm getting tripped up on the polish and not the big picture of this does seem like a really cool game. I think it was my expectations being so high that hurt me. Even the Wikipedia page says Outer Worlds is like a combination of Firefly, Futurama, and Fallout. And I love those things so much that I really thought this was the perfect game for me and really going to make me feel a particular sort of way. And honestly, for the first few hours, it did. I really liked it at first. It was just the grind that started to build up and those friction points that started to build up and the game pressuring me to play in a certain way that started to grind on me in the end. But that doesn't mean I didn't get a dozen hours of good playtime out of it. So that could be your metric for success of, hey, I had a pretty good time. I think it was just that I wanted to love the space elements of it so much that those parts fell short for me. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. I don't think it's a flaw in the game because it was a preconceived expectation that I went in with that they fell short of. That's not to say it's not good. It's just not what I imagined. Have you played Outer Worlds? Did you like it? Did it fit your playstyle better than it fit mine? Did you feel like the game was leading you to make certain decisions in a certain order? Or do you have no idea what I'm talking about and you did feel like it was very open worldy and satisfying with how the quests were written and played out? Please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. And Outer Worlds 2 came out very recently, right? I haven't played it yet. I think it came out just in October. So I don't know if it's an improvement, it's a step down, if it's a step up. I haven't heard any reviews of it yet, so if you played that one too, let me know if you think it's worth a play. I learn so much from each of these games. Every one that we play, as somebody who likes games, wants to be able to talk about games, wants to develop my own games, I feel like I've had an important takeaway from each one that we've played so far. I feel like I'm learning so much more about what I like and why and what works. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And that's it. Right? I didn't like it. I don't have to play more. It can be over, right? Unfortunately, I have a hard time walking away from things, and I feel a little guilty deciding that I didn't like it when I didn't finish it. So let's keep going. There will be late game spoilers after this point. We are now 16 hours in. Here are more thoughts. Felix, when I die, delightful. I love how he screams. He sounds so desperate when he's like, boss! And I love it. I really like him. I don't like the rest of his dialogue because he comes across as so naive, but him, when I die, which I do a lot, delightful. The dialogue options in this game I do not like. They often come across as mean and sarcastic. To be honest, a lot of the writing in this game, it feels like I'm in a room full of people who just have a different sense of humor than I do. They're not wrong, I'm not wrong, but it's like every joke they're telling lands a little flat for me just because we have different tastes. The ship really bothers me. It's just a fast travel portal. There's nothing to do on it. Ada is unfortunately such a bummer for me because I want a ship's AI to be lovely and engaging and compelling. And maybe she is a quest that I'm just not doing, but she really falls flat for me and it's such a bummer. I just wanted to give an example of what I mean by the dialogue always seems a little bit rude to me. So this is a dialogue we're having with Carmen. She's trying to describe something that seems odd to her. She says, doesn't that seem odd to you? And our only answers here are just yes, or nope, that's how things go around here in case you didn't notice. Or this last one, which is even meaner, if you ask me, the suggestion box was pretty useless to begin with. All those answers sound kind of rude to me. Like, you've got two really sarcastic and rude ones, and then you've just got one that's like, yes. And so it doesn't feel like the options that are kind are as role play rich, and that's kind of a bummer. Here's another example. We're talking to a guard. He's describing his boss to us in a way that makes it seem like maybe he's not as close to his boss. And our two options of dialogue are either just sarcastically, how descriptive, or pointedly, well, you haven't even met him, have you? There's really no way for us to engage with this as a character that is kind and curious. And because that's how I play my characters, that's a bummer for me. I found another example of dialogue that's bothering me, and it's Felix, my darling Felix, who's come to us saying that he wants to write adventures about our stories, and that's so cute. It is naive and kind of silly, but it's so cute. And our dialogue options in responding to him here are, well, I prefer naming it after me, which is cocky, fun roleplay, sure. And then number 2, well, I'm glad you're having fun, but we have a job to do. Number 3, just squeeze the bridge of your nose, Felix. Or number 4, how about this one? Felix's adventures in shutting up and doing as he's told. And it feels like we have one option that's cocky and 3 options that are kind of rude and dismissive. Like, if that is your sense of humor, that's great, that's fine, it's fun, but it's not my sense of humor. And so it feels like these jokes are just landing a little flat for me. And there's not really an option to be like, that's great, Felix. That's fun. That's funny. I enjoy having you around. Like, yes, let's write an adventure story together while we're done with this. And that might just be me. That just might be me and my taste. But these dialogue options seem rude to me. I like your attitude, Felix.
Enough to boost my pay? I'm just kidding, boss. I know you don't pay me.
Why wouldn't we pay him?
I'm sure you've got plans to make. As for me, I gotta keep practicing my signature dropkick.
I know that's such a little thing. But why wouldn't we pay him? Like, the character canonically in this game is just like a little bit rude and a little bit cocky and a little bit entitled, and that's fun for some people, but less so for me. I also wanted to show you how the ship feels like just a fast travel point. So this is one of the quests. We've wrapped up something in Phineas's lab, so we have to go somewhere else now. Our next quest marker is just go somewhere else. So we run all the way back to the ship. There's our ship. Yep, we got to get back on the ship. So our only goal now is go somewhere else. Get on the ship, transition to the interior, loading screen. Okay, now we're on the ship, so now we go to Ada.
Did you bring me anything? New parts? Last weekend's crossword puzzle? Preferably not already filled out this time.
Go into the navigation terminal, select a new location. Yup, we want to go there. It loads us there.
We are now
There we are.
of Byzantium, Captain.
And now we
I
need to exit the
understand
ship,
we have decided to continue supporting the outlaw scientist, Dr. Phineas Wells.
which is another loading screen. Well, we're going to pick our companions, and then it's another loading screen. That's it. That's fast travel on the ship. That's the only point of the ship, and it is such a bummer because it's a cool ship, but it really is just like 2 loading screens and a fast travel. Sucks, but it is a game. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. It's a game that exists, and I think any game that exists is truly a miracle. As a web dev, I know that I'm doing my job right if nobody comments on my work. Like, if you're on a website and you don't have any particular thoughts about things on that website, I did a good job. It shouldn't be noticeable. And that's how I feel about a lot of this game. It exists. The music, I haven't had a negative thought about the music, which means that it's very successful. And I'm truly, I hope that doesn't sound like sarcastic or patronizing. It's very successful that I haven't had a thought like, oh man, this is grating, or it doesn't fit the environment. It has fit the environment and it's been pleasant, and that's why I haven't thought to comment on it. I am speeding through the rest of the main quest. I'm skipping all the side quests, and I will admit I like the game better this way. The main quest feels so much more interesting to me than the side quests, so I think this final push did redeem the story for me a bit. It is a little weird that I'm here at the point of no return screen and I haven't explored like half the planets in the solar system, but that's on me for rushing through the rest of the game. The game is warning me to go back and complete other stuff, which I appreciate. I'm sure there are other endings to unlock based on who you side with, but I ended up siding with Wells, which means that the ending was a bunch of combat against the board, and I didn't love the combat. I think I just never really got into a groove with it. I had a really difficult time figuring out the different ammo types, the different weapons, how to upgrade versus tinker versus mod, and I never found my footing with it. The time dilation mechanic I really liked initially because I thought it felt like VATS, but I never figured out how to use it effectively, so I ended up not using it at all. Every time I thought I figured out what damage type I needed to be doing, I would fail somehow and I would hear Felix yell, "Boss, it's not working. You need to try a different weapon." And I would pause and go through all the journals and try and figure out what type I was using and what type the enemy was weak to, and I just couldn't get it. It just wasn't fun. And I think, honestly, that might be a skill issue. I've talked to other people who really love this game and were able to successfully build engines to do the combat. Like, someone was telling me that his approach is to put a lot of points into, like, the leadership and determination skills and then upgrade his companions so they handle a lot of the combat. So I think maybe it's a mix. I think, one, I'm not very good at combat and I just couldn't figure it out. And two, the game mechanics just really didn't click for me. After dying over and over and over and over, I finally just lowered the difficulty to the absolute lowest setting and brute forced my way through the rest of the game. As far as the actual ending, it left me feeling a little weird. The dialogue gearing up to it was like, "Are you ready to be a leader for this colony? Can I count on you?" And you got to choose dialogue responses to that in a way that made me think there was going to be more game afterwards, or maybe that would be the cliffhanger that the second game picked up on, but neither happened. It was just the epilogue, which sort of explained the next few years. And because I skipped so many of the side quests, my epilogue was super depressing, which was very funny. I'm sure it would have felt more emotionally satisfying if I had actually played more of the game, but I just couldn't bring myself to. I was at a party last night and I was talking to somebody who also loves the Fallout games. And I asked him, why do you think that Outer Worlds doesn't hit in the same way that Fallout does? Because it checks all of the same boxes. It's got interesting characters, a compelling main quest. You've got cool junk to pick up. It's a post-apocalyptic, futuristic sci-fi vibe. Like, it's so similar. And my theory was that in a game like Fallout New Vegas, you can just pick any direction, start walking, and you're going to find an interesting story. The exploration is just better and more rewarding. And he agreed, but he made the point that New Vegas also has charm. It's not just about what you find when you're out wandering, but just the experience of being out wandering. Fallout New Vegas has charm and soul, and Outer Worlds does not. I don't know if I completely agree. I have no idea what my takeaway from this game is. Honestly, it might just be that it wasn't for me. And I really liked it for the first few hours, which I gotta give credit. That's more hours of entertainment than I get out of a lot of different media. Sometimes it's just luck to find a game that really resonates with your exact playstyle and your sense of humor all the way through. It doesn't make it a bad game, just maybe not for me. I'm glad I finished the main quest. I probably won't go back for more. This is the actual end of the video now. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.